Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Welcome back to the live studios in Radha Lane, ISKCON of Houston, right next to Sri Sri Radha Nilamadava's gorgeous temple. I've got a room full of sincere seekers over here, and it happens to be Nirjalakadasi, Pandava Nirjalakadasi, and I don't know about you all, but I'm doing Nirjalakadasi, and I lost my voice. So we pray that it lasts. So everybody can just give me a little love and a little prayer so that my voice can last, because it's really weak. Okay. Hare Krishna. Oh, that we've missed you like anything. Oh, I see. That's the benefit. The benefit and the unbenefit, because we don't get your association. Okay. Welcome all of you out in cyberspace. I don't know whether it's Nirjalakadasi for you, but if it is, we hope you're doing it. And if you are, good luck. Hare Krishna. Good, lucky for us, we're not these bodies, as Krishna is teaching us very nicely in the Bhagavad-gita. Okay, so we've heard about the mystic yoga process, and Arjuna has rejected it, even though he's more qualified than all of us put together. So the mystic yoga process is not for us. We should know that for sure. Now, we've heard the first 6 chapters in which Krishna opens up philosophy, the difference between the body and the soul, and explains to Arjuna why he should do his duty, because he's not the body. Then he teaches him about how to work in detachment, and then he explains to him the mystic yoga process. Now, that first 6 chapters and the last 6 chapters are like bookends. Well, not bookends, they're protective coverings for the middle 7 chapters. Oh, Hare Krishna, Dr. Bhakti. I hope you got your medicine bag, because, I've been doing Nirjalakadasi, and if I just fall over, then you'll be able to revive me.
You're bringing nectar, so you...
Oh, Hare Krishna. Krishna's bringing the nectar. I'm just the peon. I'm just delivering the mail. That's all. It has nothing to do with me. Okay. So now in this 7th chapter, Krishna's going to begin to reveal the details of how he is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And these middle 6 chapters, convince Arjuna to the point where he surrenders. So here we are, following in the footsteps of Arjuna, and we should surrender after the first verse. Okay. But first we're going to do the Mangalacharana prayers of Prabhupada. If I can still sing. Hare Krishna. Om Jnana Timidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Dinabhutade Swayam Rupakadamayam Dadhati Swapadantikam. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with a torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. When will Srila Rupa Goswami, Prabhupada, who was established within this material world, the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? Bandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavams Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitanscha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master and unto the feet of all Vaishnavas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, along with his elder brother Sanatana Goswami, as well as Raghunath Dasa and Raghunath Bhatta, Gopal Bhatta, and Srila Jiva Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, along with Advaita Acharya, Gadadhar, Srivasa, and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna, along with their associates, Sri Lalita and Vishaka. Hey Krishna, Karuna Sindho, Dinabandho Jagatpate, Gopisha Gopika Kanta, Radha Kanta Namostute. O my dear Krishna, ocean of mercy, you are the friend of the distressed and the source of creation. You are the master of the cowherd men and the lover of the gopis, especially Srimati Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Divi Pranamami Hari Priye. I offer my respects to Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold, and who is the queen of Vrindavan. You are the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, and you are very dear to Lord Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desired trees, and they are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. I offer my obeisances to Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasa and all others in the line of devotion. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. All right. Chapter 7. Knowledge of the Absolute. Lord Krishna is the supreme truth, the supreme cause, and sustaining force of everything, both material and spiritual. Advanced devotion, whereas impious souls divert their minds to other objects of worship. Text 1. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Saktamana Partha Yogam Yunjan Madasrayaha Asam Shayam Samagramam Yatakyasya Touchtrinu. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, now hear, O son of Pritha, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. Purport. In this 7th chapter of Bhagavad-gita, the nature of Krishna consciousness is fully described. Krishna is full in all opulences, and how he manifests such opulences is described herein. Also, 4 kinds of fortunate people who become attached to Krishna, and 4 kinds of unfortunate people who never take to Krishna are described in this chapter. In the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad-gita, the living entity has been described as non-material spirit soul, capable of elevating himself to self-realization by different types of yoga. At the end of the 6th chapter, it has been clearly stated that the steady concentration of the mind upon Krishna, or in other words, Krishna consciousness, is the highest form of all yoga. By concentrating one's mind upon Krishna, one is able to know the absolute truth completely, but not otherwise. Impersonal Brahmajyoti, or localized Paramatma realization, is not perfect knowledge of the absolute truth, because it is partial. Full and scientific knowledge is Krishna, and everything is revealed to the person in Krishna consciousness. In complete Krishna consciousness, one knows that Krishna is ultimate knowledge beyond any doubts. Different types of yoga are only stepping stones on the path of Krishna consciousness. One who takes directly to Krishna consciousness automatically knows about Brahmajyoti and Paramatma in full. By practice of Krishna consciousness yoga, one can know everything in full, namely the absolute truth, the living entities, the material nature, and their manifestations with paraphernalia. One should therefore begin yoga practice as directed in the last verse of the 6th chapter. Concentration of the mind upon Krishna, the Supreme, is made possible by prescribed devotional service in 9 different forms, of which Shravanam is the first and most important. The Lord therefore says to Arjuna, touch Chinu. Could you close that door, please? Thank you. No, close it. Go close it. Yeah. Thank you. The Lord therefore says to Arjuna, touch Chinu, or hear from me. No one can be a greater authority than Krishna, and therefore by hearing from him, one receives the greatest opportunity to become a perfectly Krishna conscious person. One has therefore to learn from Krishna directly or from a pure devotee of Krishna, and not from a non-devotee upstart puffed up with academic education. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, this process of understanding Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth, is described in the 2nd chapter of the 1st canto as follows. Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Ridyantaksto Yabhadrani Vidunoti Suritsatam Nastaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavat Utama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavadidaishtiki Tada Rajastamo Bhava Kama Lobadayaschaye Cheta Etar Anavidam Stitam Satve Prasidati Evam Prasanna Manaso Bhagavad Bhakti Yogataha Bhagavat Tattva Vigyanam Mukta Sangasya Jayate Vidyate Hridaya Grantish Chidyante Sarvasangshayaha Chiyante Chasya Karmani Drishta Atma Manishware. To hear about Krishna from Vedic literatures, or to hear from him directly through the Bhagavad-gita, is itself righteous activity. And for one who hears about Krishna, Lord Krishna, who is dwelling in everyone's heart, acts as the best wishing friend, and purifies the devotee who constantly engages in hearing of him. In this way, a devotee naturally develops his dormant transcendental knowledge. As he hears more about Krishna from the Bhagavatam, and from the devotees, he becomes fixed in the devotional service of the Lord. By development of devotional service, one becomes freed from the modes of passion and ignorance, and thus material lusts and avarice are diminished. When these impurities are wiped away, the candidate remains steady in his position of pure goodness, becomes enlivened by devotional service, and understands the science of God perfectly. This bhakti yoga severs the hard knot of material affection and enables one to come at once to the stage of asangshayam, samagram, understanding of the Supreme Absolute Truth Personality of Godhead. Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotee in Krishna consciousness, I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and numinous. Further shall remain for you to know. Purport. Complete knowledge includes knowledge of the phenomenal world, the spirit behind it, and this is transcendental knowledge. The Lord wants to explain the above-mentioned system of knowledge because Arjuna is Krishna's confidential devotee and friend. In the beginning of the 4th chapter, this explanation was given by the Lord, and it is again confirmed here. Complete knowledge can be achieved only by the devotee of the Lord in disciplic succession, directly from the Lord. Therefore, one should be intelligent enough to know the source of all knowledge, who is the cause of all causes and the only object of meditation in all types of yoga practice. When the cause of all causes becomes known, then everyone knowable becomes known, and nothing remains unknown. The Vedas say, Kasmin nu bhagavo bigyate sarvam idam bigyatam bhavati. Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschit yatiti siddhaye yatatam api siddhanam kaschin mam viditatpataha. Out of many thousands ever for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. Purport. There are various grades of men, and out of many thousands, one may be sufficiently interested in transcendental realization to try to know what is the self, what is the body, and what is the absolute truth. Generally, mankind is simply engaged in the animal propensities, namely eating, sleeping, defending, and mating, and hardly anyone is interested in transcendental knowledge. The first 6 chapters of the Gita are meant for those who are interested in transcendental knowledge, in understanding the self, the super-self, and the process of realization by jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, and discrimination of the self from matter. However, Krishna can be known only by persons who are in Krishna consciousness. Other transcendentalists may achieve impersonal Brahman realization, for this is easier than understanding Krishna. Krishna is the Supreme Person, but at the same time he is beyond the knowledge of Brahman and Paramatma. The yogis and jnanis are confused in their attempts to understand Krishna. Although the greatest of the impersonalists, Sripad Shankaracharya, has admitted in his Gita commentary that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his followers do not accept Krishna as such, for it is very difficult to know Krishna, even though one has transcendental realization of impersonal Brahman. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the cause of all causes, the primeval Lord Govinda, Ishvara, Parama Krishna, Sachid Ananda Vigraha, Anadir Adir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karanam. It is very difficult for the non-devotees to know him. Although non-devotees declare that the path of bhakti or devotional service is very easy, they cannot practice it. If the path of bhakti is so easy as the non-devotee class of men proclaim, then why do they take up the difficult path? Actually, the path of bhakti is not easy. The so-called path of bhakti practiced by unauthorized persons without knowledge of bhakti may be easy, but when it is practiced factually, according to the rules and regulations, the speculative scholars and philosophers fall away from the path. Srila Rupa Goswami writes in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatra Vidim Bina Aikanti Ki Harer Bhaktir Utpatayaiva Kalpate. Devotional service of the Lord that ignores the authorized Vedic literatures like the Upanishads, Puranas, and Narada Pancharatra, is simply an unnecessary disturbance in society. It is not possible for the Brahman-realized impersonalist or the Paramatma-realized yogi to understand Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as the son of Mother Yashoda or the charioteer of Arjuna. Even the great demigods are sometimes confused about Krishna. Muhyanti yat suryaha. Mam tu veda nakaschana. No one knows me as I am, the Lord says. And if one does know him, then samahatma sadurlabhaha. Such a great soul is very rare. Therefore, unless one practices devotional service to the Lord, one cannot know Krishna as he is, tatpataha. Even though one is a great scholar or philosopher. Only the pure devotees can know something of the inconceivable transcendental qualities in Krishna, his being the cause of all causes, and opulence, and his wealth, fame, strength, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. Because Krishna is benevolently inclined to his devotees. He is the last word in Brahman realization, and the devotees alone Madi Nabhavit Grayam Indriyahi Swayameva Spodatyadaha. No one can understand Krishna as he is by the blunt material senses. Being pleased with him, with them, for their transcendental loving service unto him. Text 4. Bhumir apo nalo bayu kammano buddhadevacha ahankara iti yame bina prakritidashtada. Fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Altogether these 8 constitute my separated material energies. Purport. The science of God analyzes the constitutional position of God and his diverse energies. Material nature is called Prakriti, or the energy of the Lord in his different Purusha incarnations, expansions, as described in the Narada Pancharatra. Vishnus tu trini rupani purushakyan yato viduhu ekam tu dutiyam dvanda samstitam dutiyam sarvabhutastam tani gyatva vimuchyate. Lord Krishna's plenary expansion assumes 3 Vishnus. The first one, Mahavishnu, creates the total material energy known as Mahatattva. The second, Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, enters into all the universes to create diversities in each of them. The third, Kshirodakashaya Vishnu, is diffused as the all-pervading Supersoul in all the universes and is known as Paramatma. He is present even within the atoms. Anyone who knows these 3 Vishnus can be liberated from material entanglement. This material world is a temporary manifestation of one of the energies of the Lord. All the activities of the material world are directed by these 3 Vishnu expansions of Lord Krishna. These Purushas are called incarnations. Generally, one who does not know the science of God, Krishna, assumes that this material world is for the enjoyment of the living entities, and that the living entities are the Purushas, the causes, controllers, and enjoyers of the material energy. According to Bhagavad-gita, this atheistic conclusion is false. According to Bhagavad-gita, in the verse under discussion, it is stated that Krishna is the original cause of the material manifestation. Srimad Bhagavatam also confirms this. The ingredients of the material manifestation are separated energies of the Lord. Even the Brahma-jyoti, which is the ultimate goal of the impersonalists, is a spiritual energy manifested in the spiritual sky. There are no spiritual diversities in the Brahma-jyoti as there are in the Vaikuntha lokas, and the impersonalist accepts this Brahma-jyoti as the ultimate eternal goal. The Paramatma manifestation is also a temporary, all-pervasive aspect of the Kshirodakashayi Vishnu. The Paramatma manifestation is not eternal in the spiritual world. Therefore, the factual absolute truth is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. He is the complete energetic person, and he possesses different, separated, and internal energies. In the material energy, the principal manifestations are 8, as above mentioned. Out of these, the first 5 manifestations, namely earth, water, fire, air, and sky, are called the 5 gigantic creations, or the gross creations, within which the 5 sense objects are included. They are the manifestations of physical sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. Material science comprises these 10 items and nothing more. But the other 3 items, namely mind, intelligence, and false ego, are neglected by the materialists. Philosophers who deal with mental activities are also not perfect in knowledge because they do not know the ultimate source, Krishna. The false ego, I am, and it is mine, which constitute the basic principle of material existence, includes 10 sense organs for material activities. Intelligence refers to the total material creation, called the Mahat Tattva. Therefore, from the 8 separated energies of the Lord are manifest the 24 elements of the material world, which are the subject matter of Sankhya atheistic philosophy. They are originally offshoots from Krishna's energies and are separated from him. But atheistic Sankhya philosophers with a poor fund of knowledge do not know Krishna as the cause of all causes. The subject matter for discussion in the Sankhya philosophy is only the manifestation of the external energy of Krishna as it is described in the Bhagavad-gita. Text 5. Apariyemitastvanyam prakritim vidime param jiva bhutam mahabaho yayidam daryate jagat. Besides these, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind, which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material, inferior nature. Purport. It is clearly mentioned that living entities belong to the superior nature or energy of the Supreme Lord. The inferior energy is matter manifested in different elements, namely earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Both forms of material nature, namely gross, earth, and so on, and subtle, mind, and so on, are products of the inferior energy. The living entities who are exploiting these inferior energies for different purposes are the superior energy of the superior energy of the Supreme Lord, and it is due to this energy that the entire material world functions. The cosmic manifestation has no power to act unless it is moved by the superior energy, the living entity. Energies are always controlled by the energetic, and therefore the living entities are always controlled by the Lord. They have no independent existence. They are never equally powerful as unintelligent men think. The distinction between the living entities and the Lord is described in Srimad Bhagavatam as follows: Aparimita drubas tanubito yadi sarvakatas tarhi nisyash yatiti niyamo dhruvanetarata ajani shenmayamam tad avimucha nirantribhavet samam anujanatam yadamatam madadushtaya dushtaya. O Supreme Eternal, If the embodied living entities were eternal and all-pervading like you, then they would not be under your control. But if the living entities are accepted as minute energies of your lordship, then they are at once subject to your supreme control. Therefore, real liberation entails surrender by the living entities to your control, and that surrender will make them happy. In that constitutional position only can they be controllers. Therefore, men with limited knowledge who advocate the monistic theory that God and the living entities are equal in all respects are actually guided by a faulty and polluted opinion. The Supreme Lord, Krishna, is the only controller, and all living entities are controlled by Him. These living entities are His superior energy, because the quality of their existence is one and the same with the Supreme. But they are never equal to the Lord in quantity of power. While exploiting the gross and subtle inferior energy, matter, the superior energy, living entity, forgets his real spiritual mind and intelligence. This forgetfulness is due to the influence of matter upon the living entity. But when the living entity becomes free from the influence of the illusory material energy, he attains the stage called mukti, or liberation. The false ego, under the influence of material illusion, thinks, I am matter, and material acquisitions are mine. His actual position is realized when he is liberated from all material ideas, including the conception of his becoming one in all respects with God. Therefore, one may conclude that the Gita confirms the living entity to be only one of the multi-energies of Krishna. And when this energy is freed from material contamination, it becomes fully Krishna conscious, or liberated. Text 6. Etad yonini bhutani sarvani chupadarya aham kritsnasya jagata prabhavak pralayastata. Beings have as their source, all created beings have their source in these two natures, of all that is material and all that is spiritual in this world. Know for certain that I am both the origin and the dissolution. Everything that exists is a product of matter and spirit. Spirit is the basic field of creation, and matter is created by spirit. Spirit is not created at a certain stage of material development. Rather, this material world is manifested only on the basis of spiritual energy. This material body is developed because spirit is present within matter. A child grows gradually from boyhood and then to manhood because that superior energy, spirit soul, is present. Similarly, the entire cosmic manifestation of the gigantic universe is developed because of the presence of the Supersoul, Vishnu. Therefore, spirit and matter, which combine to manifest this gigantic universal form, are originally two energies of the Lord, and consequently the Lord is the original cause of everything. A fragmental part and parcel of the Lord, namely living entity, may be the cause of a big skyscraper, a big factory, or even a big city, but he can't be the cause of a big universe. The cause of the big universe is the big soul, or the super soul. And Krishna, the Supreme, is the cause of both the big and small souls. Therefore, he is the original cause of all causes. This is confirmed in the Katha Upanishad. Nityo Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam. Text 7. Mattak Matparatanam Nanyat Kinchidasti Dhananjaya Mai Sarvamidang Protam Sutre Manigana Iva. Paraduli, sit up. Sit up. Thank you. For us, not for you. O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. Purport. There is a common controversy over whether the Supreme Absolute Truth is personal or impersonal. As far as Bhagavad-gita is concerned, the Absolute Truth is the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, and this is confirmed in every step. In this verse, in particular, it is stressed that the Absolute Truth is a person. That the personality of Godhead is the Supreme Absolute Truth is also the affirmation of the Brahma Samhita. Ishwarak Paramak Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha. That is, the Supreme Absolute Truth, personality of Godhead, is Sri Krishna, is Lord Krishna, who is the primeval Lord, the reservoir of all pleasure, Govinda, and the eternal form of complete bliss and knowledge. These authorities leave no doubt that the Absolute Truth is the Supreme Person, the cause of all causes. The impersonalists, however, argues on the strength of the Vedic version given in the Shvetashvatara Upanishad, Tato yad uttaratam terarupam anamayam ya etad vidtu amritas te bhavanti atitade dukam evapiyanti. In the material world, Brahma, the primeval living entity within the universe, is understood to be the supreme amongst the demigods, human beings, and lower animals. But beyond Brahma, there is the Transcendence, who has no material form and is free from all material contaminations. Anyone who can know him also becomes transcendental. But those who do not know him suffer the miseries of the material world. The impersonalist puts no more stress on the word arupam. But this arupam is not impersonal. It indicates the transcendental form of eternity in bliss and knowledge. As described in the Brahma Samhita quoted above, as follows: Vidaham etam purusham mahantam adityavarnam tamasak padastat tam eva vidit vatimritam eti nanyat panta vidyate yanaya yasmat padam na paramasti kinchit yasman nani yo no jayosti kinchit riksha eva stabdo divitishtat yakas tinidam purnam purushena sarvam. I know that Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is transcendental to all material conceptions of darkness. Only he who knows him can transcend the bonds of birth and death. There is no way for liberation other than this knowledge of that Supreme Person. There is no truth superior to that Supreme Person, because he is the supermost. He is smaller than the smallest, and he is greater than the greatest. He is situated as a silent tree, and he illumines the transcendental sky, and as a tree spreads its roots, he spreads his extensive energies. From these verses one concludes that the Supreme Absolute Truth is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is all-pervading by his multi-energies, both material and spiritual. Text 8. Rasoham apsakonteya prabhasmi shashishurya yoho pranabak sarvavedeshu shabdike parusham rishu. O son of Kunti, I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon, the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. I am the sound in ether and ability in man. Purport. This verse explains how the Lord is all-pervasive by his diverse material and spiritual energies. The Supreme Lord can be preliminarily perceived by his different energies. And in this way he is realized impersonally. As the demigod is in the sun as a person and is perceived by his all-pervading energy, the sunshine, so the Lord, although in his eternal abode, is perceived by his all-pervading diffusive energies. The taste of water is the active principle of water. No one likes to drink seawater because the pure taste of water is mixed with salt. Attraction for water depends on the purity of its taste, and this pure taste is one of the energies of the Lord. The impersonalist perceives the presence of the Lord in water by its taste, and the personalist also glorifies the Lord for his kindly supplying tasty water to quench man's thirst. That is the way of perceiving the Supreme. Practically speaking, there is no conflict between personalism and impersonalism. One who knows God knows that the impersonal conception and personal conception are simultaneously present in everything, and that there is no contradiction. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya established his sublime doctrine, Achintya, Bheda, and Abheda Tattva, simultaneous oneness and difference. The light of the sun and the moon is also originally emanating from the Brahmajyoti, which is the impersonal effulgence of the Lord. And Pranava, or the Omkara, transcendental sound in the beginning of every Vedic hymn, addresses the Supreme Lord. Because the impersonalists are very much afraid of understanding the Supreme Lord Krishna by his innumerable names, they prefer to vibrate the transcendental sound Omkara. But they do not realize that Omkara is the sound representation of Krishna. The jurisdiction of Krishna consciousness extends everywhere, and one who knows Krishna consciousness is blessed. Those who do not know Krishna are in illusion, and so knowledge of Krishna is liberation, and ignorance of him is bondage. Text 9. Punyo gandak prativyam cha tejas chasme vibhavaso jivanam sarvabhuteshu tapaschasme tapasvishu. I am the original fragrance of the earth, and I am the heat in fire. I am the life of all that lives, and I am the penances of all ascetics. Purport. Punya means that which is not decomposed. Punya is original. Everything in the material world has a certain flavor or fragrance, as the flavor and fragrance in a flower, or in the earth, in water, in air, fire, in air, and so on. The uncontaminated flavor, the original flavor, which permeates everything, is Krishna. Similarly, everything has a particular original taste, and this taste can be changed by the mixture of chemicals. So everything original has some smell, some fragrance, and some taste. Vibhavasu means fire. Without fire we cannot cook. We cannot run factories, we cannot cook, and so on. And that fire is Krishna. The heat in the fire is Krishna. According to Vedic medicine, indigestion is due to even for digestion, fire is needed. In Krishna consciousness, we become aware that earth, water, fire, air, and every active principle, all chemicals and all material elements, are due to Krishna. The duration of man's life is also due to Krishna. Therefore, by the grace of Krishna, man can prolong his life or diminish it. So Krishna consciousness is active in every sphere. Text 10. Bijam mam sarvabhutanam vidiparta sanatanam buddhir buddhimatam asmi tejas tejasvinamaham. O son of Pritha, know that I am the original seed of all existences, the intelligence of the intelligent, and the prowess of all powerful men. Purport. Bijam means seed. Krishna is the seed of everything. There are various living entities, movable and inert. Birds, beasts, men, and many other living creatures are moving living entities. Trees and plants, however, are inert. They cannot move, but only stand. Every entity is contained within the scope of 4,400,000 species of life. Some of them are moving, and some of them are inert. In all cases, however, the seed of their life is Krishna. As stated in the Vedic literature, Taittiriya Upanishad, Yato ba imani bhutani jayante. Brahman, or the Supreme Absolute Truth, is that from which everything is emanating. Krishna is Parabrahman, the Supreme Spirit. Brahman is impersonal, and Parabrahman is personal. Impersonal Brahman is situated in the personal aspect. That is stated in Bhagavad-gita. Brahmano hi pratishtaham. Therefore, originally, Krishna is the source of everything. He is the root. As the root of a tree maintains the whole tree, Krishna, being the original root of all things, maintains everything in this material manifestation. This is also confirmed in the Vedic literature. Nityo nityanam chaitanam eko bahunam yo vedidati kaman. He is the prime eternal among all eternals of all living entities, and He alone is maintaining all life. One cannot do anything without intelligence, and Krishna also says that He is the root of all intelligence. Unless a person is intelligent, he cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Text 11. Balam balabhatam chaham kamaraga vivarjitam dharma virudubhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshaba. I am the strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire. I am sex life which is not contrary to religious principles, O Lord of the Bhara. Aggression. Similarly, sex life according to religious principles, dharma, should be for the propagation. The responsibility of parents is then to make their offspring Krishna conscious. Text 12. Ye chaiva satvika bhava rajasas tamasas chaye mata eviditan vidi natveham techute mayi. Know that all states of being, be they of goodness, passion, or ignorance, are manifested by my energy. I am in one sense everything, but I am independent. I am not under the modes of material nature, for they, on the contrary, are within me. Purport. All material activities in the world are being conducted under the three modes of material nature. Emanations from the Supreme Lord Krishna. He is, for instance, under the state laws, one may be punished, but the king, the lawmaker, is not subject to that law. No wonder he wants to be the king. It's right here. Memo. Are emanations from the Supreme Lord Krishna, but Krishna is not subject to material nature. Therefore, he is nirguna, which means that these gunas, or modes, of him. That is one of the special characteristics of Bhagavan, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text 13. Tribir gunamayargat mohitam nabijanati mamevyak paramavyayam. Deluded by the three modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance, the whole world does not know me, who am above the modes and inexhaustible. Purport. The whole world is enchanted by the three modes of material nature. Those who are bewildered by these three modes cannot understand that transcendental to this material nature is the Supreme Lord Krishna. Every living entity under the influence of material nature has a particular type of body and a particular type of psychological and biological activities accordingly. There are four classes of men functioning in the three modes of nature. Those who are purely in the mode of goodness are called brahmanas. Those who are purely in the mode of passion are called kshatriyas. Those who are in the modes of both passion and ignorance are called vaishyas. Those who are completely in ignorance are called shudras. And those who are less than that are animals or animal life. However, these designations are not permanent. I may either be a brahmana, kshatriya, vaishya, or whatever. In any case, this life is temporary. But although life is temporary, and we do not know what we are going to be in the next life, by the spell of this illusory energy, we consider ourselves in terms of this bodily conception of life. And we thus think that we are American, Indian, Russian, or Brahmana, Hindu, Muslim, and so on. And if we become entangled with the modes of material nature, then we forget the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is behind all these modes. So Lord Krishna says that living entities deluded by these three modes of nature do not understand that behind the material background is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are many different kinds of living entities: human beings, demigods, animals, etc. And each and every one of them is under the influence of material nature. And all of them have forgotten the transcendent personality of Godhead. Those who are in the modes of passion and ignorance, and even those who are in the mode of goodness, cannot go beyond the impersonal Brahman, conception of the absolute truth. They are bewildered before the Supreme Lord in His personal feature, which possesses all beauty, opulence, knowledge, strength, fame, and renunciation. When even those who are in goodness cannot understand, what hope is there for those in passion and ignorance? Krishna consciousness is transcendental to all these three modes of material nature, and those who are truly established in Krishna consciousness, maya metam tarantite, consisting of the three modes, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has innumerable energies, and all these energies, although the living entities are part of His energies and are therefore divine, due to contact with material energy, their original superior power is covered. Being thus cannot possibly overcome its influence. As previously stated, both the material and spiritual natures, being emanations from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are eternal. The living entities belong to the eternal superior energy of the Lord, but due to contamination by the inferior nature, matter, their illusion is also eternal. The conditioned soul is therefore called Nityabada, or eternally conditioned, material history. Consequently, he is released from the clutches, even though that material nature is an inferior energy, conducted by the supreme will, which the living entity cannot overcome. Inferior material nature is defined herein as divine nature by the divine will. Being conducted by divine will, material nature, although inferior, acts so wonderfully in the construction and destruction of the cosmic manifestation. The Vedas confirm this as follows: Mayam tu prakritim vidyan, mayinam tu maheshwaram. Although Maya, illusion, is false or temporary, the background of Maya is the. Another meaning of guna is rope. The conditioned soul is tightly tied by the ropes of illusion. A man-bound rescuer must be liberated. Therefore, only Lord Krishna, soul. Without such superior help, one cannot be freed from the bondage of material nature. Devotional service, or Krishna consciousness can help one gain such release. Krishna, being the Lord of the illusory energy, can order this insurmountable energy to release the conditioned soul. He orders this release out of his causeless mercy on the surrendered soul and out of his paternal affection for the living entity, the Lord. Therefore, surrender means to get free from the clutches of the stringent material nature. The words Mam Eva are also significant. Mam means unto Krishna, Vishnu, only, and not Brahma or Shiva. Although Brahma and Shiva are greatly elevated and are almost on the level of Vishnu, it is not possible for such incarnations of Rajaguna passion and Tamoguna ignorance to release the conditioned soul from the clutches of Maya. In other words, both Brahma and Shiva are also under the influence of Maya. Only Vishnu is the master of Maya. Therefore, he alone can give release to the conditioned soul. The Vedas, Svetashvatara Upanishad, confirm this in the phrase Tam Eva Viditva, or freedom is possible only by understanding Krishna. Even Lord Shiva affirms that liberation can be achieved. Shiva says, Mukti Pradata Sarvesham Vishnur Eva Nisangshayaha. There is no doubt that Vishnu is the deliverer of liberation for everything. Namam Dushkritino Mudha Prapadyante Naradamaha Mayaya Paritagyana Asuram Bhavama. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, who are lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. Purport. It is said in Bhagavad-gita that simply by surrendering oneself unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Krishna, one can surmount the stringent laws of material nature. At this point, a question arises. How is it that educated philosophers, scientists, businessmen, administrators, and all the leaders of ordinary men do not surrender to the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, the all-powerful personality of Godhead? Mukti, or liberation from the laws of material nature, is sought by the leaders of mankind in different ways and with great plans and perseverance for a great many years and births. But if that liberation is possible by simply surrendering unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then why don't these intelligent and hard-working leaders adopt this simple method? The Gita answers this question very frankly. Those really learned leaders of society, like Brahma, Shiva, Kapila, the Kumaras, Manu, Vyasa, Devala, Asita, Janaka, Prahlad, Bali, and later on, Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya, Sri Chaitanya, and many others, who were faithful philosophers, politicians, educators, scientists, and so on, surrender to the lotus feet of the Supreme Person, the all-powerful authority. Those who are not actually philosophers, scientists, educators, administrators, but who pose themselves as such for material gain, do not accept the plan or path of the Supreme Lord. They have no idea of God. They simply manufacture their own worldly plans and consequently complicate the problems of material existence in their vain attempts to solve them. Because material energy, nature, is so powerful, it can resist the unauthorized plans of the atheists and baffle the knowledge of the planning commissions. The atheistic plan makers are described herein by the word duskritina, or miscreants. Kriti means one who has performed meritorious work. The atheist plan maker is sometimes very intelligent and meritorious also, because any gigantic plan, good or bad, must take intelligence to execute. But because the atheist's brain is improperly utilized in opposing the plan of the Supreme Lord, the atheistic plan maker is called Duskriti, which indicates that his intelligence and efforts are misguided. In the Gita, it is clearly mentioned that material energy works fully under the direction of the Supreme Lord. It has no independent authority. It works as the shadow moves, in accordance with the movements of the object. But still, material energy is very powerful, and the atheist, due to his godless temperament, nor can he know the plan of the Supreme Lord in ignorance. All his plans are baffled, as in the case whose plans were smashed materially learned as scientists, philosophers, administrators, and educators. These are of 4 different patterns, as outlined below. 1. The mutas are those who are grossly foolish, like hard-working beasts of burden. They want to enjoy the fruits of their labor by themselves, and so do not want to part with them for the Supreme. The typical example of the beast of burden is the ass. This humble beast is made to work very hard by his master. The ass does not really know for whom he works so hard day and night. He remains satisfied by filling his stomach with a bundle of grass, sleeping for a while, nor do they take time to hear of him from the proper sources. The swine who eat the night soil do not care to accept sweetmeats made of sugar and ghee. Similarly, the foolish worker will untiringly continue to hear of the sense-enjoyable tidings of the flickering mundane world, but will have very little time to hear about the eternal living force that moves the material world. 2. Another class of Duskriti, or miscreant, is called the Naradama, or the lowest of mankind. Out of the 8,400,000 different species of living beings, there are 400,000 human species. Out of these, there are numerous lower forms of human life that are mostly uncivilized. The civilized human beings are those who have regulated principles of social, political, and religious life. Those who are socially and politically developed, but who have no religious principles, must be considered Naradamas. Nor is religion without God religion, because the purpose of following religious principles is to know the supreme truth and man's relation with him. In the Gita, the personality of Godhead clearly states that there is no authority above him and that he is the supreme truth. The civilized form of human life is meant for man's reviving the lost consciousness of his eternal relation with the supreme truth, the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, who is all-powerful. Whoever loses this chance is classified as a Naradama. We get information from revealed scriptures that when the baby is in the mother's womb, in an extremely uncomfortable situation, he prays to God for deliverance and promises to worship him alone as soon as he gets out. To pray to God when he is in difficulty is a natural instinct in every living being, because he is eternally related with God. But after his deliverance, the child forgets the difficulties of birth and forgets his deliverer also, being influenced by Maya, the illusory energy. It is the duty of the guardians of children to revive the divine consciousness dormant in them. Memo: the 10 processes of reformatory ceremonies, as enjoined in the Manusmriti, which is the guide to religious principles, are meant for reviving God consciousness in the system of Varnashrama. However, no process is strictly followed now in any part of the world, and therefore 99.9% of the population is Naradama. When the whole population becomes Naradama, naturally all their so-called education is made null and void by the all-powerful energy of physical nature. According to the standard of the Gita, a learned man is he who sees on equal terms the learned Brahmana, the dog, the cow, the elephant, and the dog-eater. That is the vision of a true devotee. Sri Nityananda Prabhu, who is the incarnation of Godhead as Divine Master, delivered the typical Naradamas, the brothers, Jagai and Madai, and showed them how the mercy of a real devotee is bestowed upon the lowest of mankind. So the Naradama, who is condemned by the personality of Godhead, can again revive his spiritual consciousness only by the mercy of a devotee. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in propagating the Bhagavata Dharma, or activities of the devotees, has recommended that people submissively hear the message of the personality of Godhead. The essence of this message is Bhagavad-gita. The lowest amongst human beings process only, but unfortunately they even refuse to give an oral reception to these messages. And what to speak of surrendering to the will of the Supreme Lord? Naradamas, or the lowest of mankind, willfully neglect the prime duty of the human being. 3. The next class of duskriti is called Mayaya Parita Jnana, or those persons whose erudite knowledge has been nullified by the influence of illusory material energy. They are mostly very learned fellows, great philosophers, poets, literati, scientists, and so on. But the illusory energy misguides them, and therefore they disobey the Supreme Lord. There are a great number of Mayaya Paritagana at the present moment, even amongst the scholars of the Bhagavad-gita. In the Gita, in plain and simple language, it is stated that Sri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is none equal to or greater than him. He is mentioned as the father of Brahma, the original father of all living beings. In fact, Sri Krishna is said to be not only the father of Brahma, but also the father of all species of life. He is the root of the impersonal Brahman and Paramatma. The Supersoul in every entity is his plenary portion. He is the fountainhead of everything, and everyone is advised to surrender unto his lotus feet. Despite all these clear statements, the Mayaya Paritagana derided the personality of the Supreme Lord and considered him merely another human being. They do not know that the blessed form of human life is designed after the eternal and transcendental feature of the Supreme Lord. All the unauthorized interpretations of the Gita by the class of Mayaya Paritagana, outside the purview of the Parampara system, are so many stumbling blocks on the path. The deluded interpreters do not understand the deluded interpretation of Sri Krishna, nor do they teach others to follow this principle. 4. The last class of duskriti is called Asuram Bhavam Ashritaha, or those of demonic principles. This class is openly atheistic. Some of them argue that the Supreme Lord can never descend upon this material world, but they are unable to give any tangible reasons as to why not. There are others who make him subordinate to the impersonal feature, although the opposite is declared in the Gita. Envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the atheist will present a number of illicit incarnations manufactured in the factory of his brain. Such persons, whose very principle of life is to decry the personality of Godhead, cannot surrender under the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. Sri Yamunacharya Al-Banduru of South India said, "O my Lord, you are unknowable to persons involved with atheistic principles. despite your uncommon qualities, features, and activities, despite your personalities being confirmed by all the revealed scriptures in the quality of goodness, and despite your being acknowledged by the famous authorities renowned for their depth of knowledge in the transcendental science and situated in the godly qualities. Therefore, 1. Grossly foolish persons, 2. The lowest of mankind, 3. The deluded speculators, and 4. The professed atheists, as above mentioned, never surrender under the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead, in spite of all scriptural and authoritative advice. Hare Krishna. So nice to hear straight from Prabhupada. Prabhupada makes it so clear and simple and unambiguous and uncompromising. Okay, let's hear some reflections. Any point that stuck out in your mind? Yes?
So, I'm familiar with Christ consciousness from Unity Church that teaches that to know Christ consciousness we have to die out of the self or have kind of like an ego death, and then beyond the self we can experience, Christ consciousness when we're not so attached to that illusionary identity. And I feel like that's what it was saying here about Krishna consciousness. And I know Hannah was telling me that Christ consciousness comes from Krishna consciousness, but as far as I know, Christ is the christened one, the Messiah, and I'm not really educated enough to know what christened means, or all these words mean, or if maybe Christianity had Indian influences, and maybe you could talk a little bit about that. I was just curious.
Well, we can't know for sure what happened to Lord Jesus Christ during the 18 years that he disappeared.
In India, yeah.
But there's evidence, but it's circumstantial evidence. We don't usually quote it as scripture or absolute. But what we can say is that in the original Aramaic, see, in English we say Jesus Christ, but in the Aramaic it's Jesus of the Christ. Just like you have your father's name and then you have your given name. Jesus of the Christ. So the word Christ means God, the anointed one. And Jesus Christ prayed to his Father, "Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name." He never said that he was God. He said, "Our Father in art in heaven." Our Father means he's not just his Father, he's everyone's Father. Our Father. It's not that he's the only Son. But he was the only liberated soul at that time, in that place, in the Mideast. And therefore, you had to go to him to find out about God. But because the people in that area were not very spiritually elevated, they couldn't understand very much about God, and therefore he gave them just very basic sub-religious principles. Don't kill, which, by the way, they make a very big business out of nowadays. Yes. Hard to find an actual Christian. Prabhupada many times said, "I think I'm a better Christian than the Christians." So Krishna is Sanskrit, and Sanskrit is the mother language. All linguists who have studied language know this. It's the mother language of all other languages. Just like the other day we read a verse that said, that used the word tumult as tumultuous. Tumult in Sanskrit means tumultuous. Almost the same word. So there's like that. There's ways of connecting all languages to Sanskrit. So the word Krishna means the all-attractive one, or it's a name for Krishna, name for Krishna, name for God. So Krishna, Christo, Christa, Christ. It's the same name. It's just another language. So I call this chair, and you call it siya, or in another language something else. But it's the same thing. The sun, soul, same thing. So Krishna, Christ, same thing. Is that clear?
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing.
So the teachings of Jesus, if you just take the words and don't twist them and turn them, which they have already, then you come to the same conclusion as the Bhagavad-gita. The Bhagavad-gita and the Vedic literatures are like, in relationship to the Bible, are like a pocket dictionary, the Bible, as opposed to a full research level dictionary, volumes long. That's an encyclopedia. Talking about dictionary. So you'll find all the words that are in the pocket dictionary. You will find them in the table dictionary, but you won't find all the words that are in the table dictionary in the pocket dictionary. That's the only difference. It's the same language. It's the same science. There's only one God, and there's only one process to go back to God, and that's pure devotional service. And devotional service has pure devotional service has 9 angas, or limbs. It begins with hearing. That's why they go to church and hear. Of course, they don't hear very much about Krishna because they don't know very much about Krishna. Because the details about Krishna, his personality, the material world, how he enters into the material world, how he creates it, how he controls it, what his energies are, how they're related, what we are, how we're related to the material world, how we're related to the source. All those details, which is a spiritual science, they have no idea. Therefore, if you keep scratching deep enough and deep enough, you'll see, even in Unity Church, you scratch deep enough and you'll see that they don't believe really that God's a person.
Yeah.
He's the supreme consciousness.
Like an impersonal
Yes.
understanding of God.
Yes.
Right?
But in order for something or anything or anyone to be the source of everything, that source must contain everything within our experience and outside of our experience. Otherwise, it cannot be the source of everything. And that is the basic definition of God. In all dictionaries, in all scriptures, they use the word omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent. We're a person. God must be a person. This energy is impersonal, therefore God must be impersonal. Both. But the source of everything, spirit and matter, is Krishna, is God. So to understand that difference is to have clear knowledge. And with that clear knowledge, one becomes free from anxiety. When one is actually fixed in that knowledge and is conscious of that knowledge all the time, throughout his waking state at least, and in the perfection 24/7, has no anxiety. Even there's pain, and you can't avoid pain in the material world. You can't avoid anxiety in the material world. You can't avoid elation. You can't avoid the dualities of material existence in the material world. But you don't have to be disturbed by them. And the way to get undisturbed by them is first of who I am in relation. I'm not the body. And who is the source?
Does our relationship change according to our states of consciousness? Like how?
There are detailed differences. There are varieties, but there's oneness within the variety.
Yeah, when this within the multiplicity.
Because just like, everyone, and all living entities, not just everyone in this room, is serving someone. Everyone. So everyone has to work to maintain the body and soul together. The politicians serve their citizens, are supposed to. Every living being, even the insects, they all have service that they render. The trees, they put out, and oxygen, and oxygen, which is pretty basic, that we all need. So this is the oneness in the varieties of relationship. It's the basic, it's the foundation. It's the identity of the soul. We're servants of Krishna. And when we're in the material world, we forget that we're servants of Krishna, and therefore we think that we're servants of one another only. But that service is real, and it's true, but it's temporary. I can't serve anyone eternally. Ones and family and friends, whatever, country, at some point. So we live with the knowledge and the affection for others because we see that everyone is a servant of Krishna. Krishna is in the heart of everyone, and we feel a natural affinity and affection for everyone because of that. But at the same time, we know that the body is temporary, and the forms, all the forms, if you leave this room and just leave it, go away and just leave it, over time, enough time, no matter what it's made of, eventually it will disintegrate. And therefore, when they try to piece together the history of the universe by their telescopes and microscopes and acid, whatever they do to break things up and figure out what's going on, they're limited. You can only, we're limited. God is unlimited. You cannot find out truly and properly about the unlimited unless the unlimited tells you, informs you. And that's what Jesus meant. Let those who have ears hear. Anyone who's reasonable and hears these arguments that have been given to us by Srila Prabhupada, who is also a Christ-like figure. It's only been, 50 years since he started this movement, and already it's spreading. And eventually he will be acknowledged by him.
Like a saint?
Yes, more than a saint. There's different kinds of avatars of God. Some of them are direct, personal, full manifestations. Others are infinitesimal particles powered by Krishna to do something for human society that only he can do, that no ordinary jiva can do. Then that person is called Shaktivesh avatar. Jesus Christ is a Shaktivesh avatar of Krishna. And that's what it means when we say that he's or should be treated with the same respect as God. Because one who has knowledge of God and can give that knowledge of God is to be respected as good as God. But if the person thinks that he's God when he's not God, then he's an illusion. Jesus was not an illusion, but his followers are an illusion.
I have a lot of questions, but I don't want to keep anyone here.
This is the nectar of life. This is what we live for.
I was going to ask you to explain. She said ego death to become Christ conscious. So what does the Bhagavad-gita Like we have the idea of the material ego, we have to get that out.
Well, there's the material energy is categorized, as we read in this chapter, into gross and subtle energies, material energies. They're Krishna's separated energies, just like they're recording this on that machine and then through the internet somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
So my voice is recorded, and if I leave the room and you turn that on, you will hear my voice just as if I'm speaking. But the energy is separated from me. So the material energy is separated from Krishna by the material energy. So the false ego is the most subtle soul context, that energy, that material energy, to identify with the body. That's the function of the false ego. It empowers the original soul, which is spiritual and eternal, and whose personality is eternal, whose ego is eternal, to think that he is material, or she is material. So that false ego has to be given up. But the real ego is the identity of the soul.
Sounds a lot like Sufism.
And we know it. Every one of us knows it.
Yeah.
A child can understand.
So you're saying that a lot of the Christians are misguided, but I know a lot of the Christian mystics or a lot of mystics still hold the gnosis, the original essence of the teaching. But at least I believe they
Absolutely.
They
Absolutely.
They say that one way to know sainthood is if the body never disintegrates, because they become kind of like a light bulb. It's something very metaphysical that happens, and
It's possible, but that's not how you determine who's saintly and who's not saintly. Because everyone leaves the body.
Okay. But if the body never decomposes, and then they become kind of like a light. Because I went to Italy one time, and I was walking next to...
No, if the body... Let's get this straight. If the body decomposes and there's a light, that light's not decomposing. The body's decomposing, but consciousness is not decomposing.
So do you still acknowledge the sainthood of for example, if there's someone like a holy body in a Catholic, let's say, church in Italy, I passed one of those bodies and I fainted because there was something there. There was this, I felt like an angel and in place of her body, and it was something very, very spiritual. And so I believe that anyone of any religion can have,
Yes.
a
Yes.
special
Yes.
connection with God. It goes beyond religion. Do you
Yes.
also believe that?
That's the soul.
Oh, okay. All right. So then,
There are saints. There are saints in all the religions, and but following it.
yeah.
When I was in London in 1987 to 1994, I ran a question and answer session like this every day for 7 years, 3 to 12 hours a day, and it was open to anybody. So I met so many people, thousands and thousands. I learned so much, and I met genuine Christians and genuine Islam, and people in Islam, and genuine Buddhists even, and we had wonderful exchanges. But in every case, they admitted that God's a person, ultimately. Otherwise, we cannot be persons. And they accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As it says in the Bible, man is created in the image of God. That means God's original form is male. And his female counterpart is also there, his internal energy. And that's Radha and Krishna. And they're the source of all relationships and all energies and everything. So it's not that we don't accept that there aren't saintly persons, but whether or not there are different places to go when you leave the body. So many places you can go. And most of the places that people know about are material. But there's a spiritual world beyond this covered universe. And there's unlimited planets in that spiritual sky. And you can go to any one of them according to your relationship that you have with God, your mood. There are different moods that God has in all of those different planets. But Krishna is the source of all of those expansions of God. And his planet is the source of all of the planets. That's called Krishna Loka. But some persons like that relationship of awe and reverence. And they go to that part of the spiritual sky where they can have that kind of awe and reverential relationship. Krishna, in his original form, in the original planet, well, we don't say original because it never didn't exist, it's eternal. But there, his devotees have equal relationships. They know he's God, but their love is so overwhelmingly powerful that it causes them to forget that he's God. And therefore they figure. Or, in other words, they can even be a superior. So this level of God consciousness is, beyond anything that I've heard about in any other religious tradition. And therefore, we're attracted. Because Krishna is all attractive. He's the most beautiful. He's the most wealthy. He's the most famous. He's the most powerful. He's the wisest. And he's the most renounced. And he has all those opulences in full, unlimited. And when he comes to this world, he exhibits those opulences in front of our eyes. And still we can't see him. And he speaks, still we can't hear him. Therefore Jesus said, let those who have ears hear. If we say these things to a born-again Christian who isn't evolved spiritually, they'll say, no, that's not in the Bible, it can't be true. I can change one sentence into another sentence. It means exactly the same thing. No, it's not true. It's because it's not in the Bible. It has to be said this way, with this combination of words. And then what do? They change them. It took them 300 years to get the Bible together. Anyway, Hare Krishna. I think I got to give my voice a rest because it's almost gone. I got my second win. By your mercy, I got my second win. We'd like to thank all of you who are tuning in from cyberspace, wherever you are. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for coming again and again. And please keep sharing this nectar because we want the world to hear Srila Prabhupada's words, direct. We can give lectures, we can explain things, we can become TED talkers or whatever. But when you hear Prabhupada's words directly from a person who has full faith in them, it has a wonderful effect on the consciousness. So we want to expand this consciousness and we want to help straighten the world out. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Bhagavad-gita ki jai. Samaveta Bhaktivinoda ki jai.